And welcome to the Arkin Brothers Talk About Movies. I'm Matthew Arkin. That's my brother, Anthony Arkin. And today we are back after a long hiatus, and we're talking about 1985's Crimewave, directed by Sam Raimi, written by the Coen brothers, and starring a prepubescent Reed Birney, who we are lucky enough to have on the show with us today. So please stick around.
Talking about cocktails that are stylish, movies great or phony, and how Tony should win a Matthew, and Matthew should win a Tony. But in the meantime, talking about film in the meantime. The Arkin brothers talk about movies.
How did they get footage of our viewers? That's pretty amazing.
Reacting to our show, laughing,
Yeah.
laughing and crying.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother, it's been a long time since
It
we've
has
done
been.
this.
We're back. We're back in the saddle. Back doing the show.
And back
Which
with a
is great.
bang with a special guest today.
Yeah, we do have a special guest. Very, very exciting. Always when we have a guest, it's clear they've never heard the show. So
Yeah.
we have. Once they do, they're not coming on.
They're not
So
coming on.
we have them very fresh.
Sometimes they run screaming in the middle of the episode.
I had nothing to do with it.
If we do it right.
There we go.
If we
That-
do it right.
Yeah. So we haven't done this is our first show of 2023. I didn't realize we had not done a show in the new year yet.
Yeah, that's right. Our last show was like right before Christmas.
Hard times.
Right. Oh, it was our Christmas show.
A Christmas movie. Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been doing? What have you been keeping yourself? What's going on?
I've been napping. Just
Good.
basically since
Good.
then.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I had January off from teaching at the college. They have an interterm there that I don't teach during the interterm. And I was catching up on a lot of other work. I wrote a short film.
Did you?
Yeah. I wrote a little short film.
There's a lot of money in that.
There
Short
is
films.
Yeah. No, I'm
I
very
would keep
excited.
going.
Yeah. But going to be producing it with a friend of mine. And so we're starting. There we go. So looking forward to that. And watching the Great British Baking Show. That's what I've been doing with my time.
Expanding your horizons.
Yeah. Yeah. You have nothing to say to me watching the Great British Baking Show.
I think it says it all. I think that says everything that could be said. What am I going to add to that? Is it the children's version of it too? That would be even better if there were the British children's baking show. I know there's a
Is there one?
youth-oriented baking
Oh, I
show.
didn't know that. No, I'm watching the adult one.
Well, I've completely misfired this because now you're going to watch that. I wanted to wean you off the baking shows with some drama.
Yeah.
So this
no,
must have been a nice break. Our film this month. Have you seen a movie at all since we began this year?
Had I seen a movie at all? I don't know that I have seen a
Really? Really now?
movie. Yeah, it's kind of
It's
alarming.
interesting for somebody that, created a podcast about movies.
I'm gonna be taken to task today. I can tell.
No.
I can tell. We go. The elevator scene. I love the. What have you been up to? You've been busy shooting a movie,
Made a movie, shot a movie.
a
Anyway.
feature film. So you could
Feature
get
movie.
rich.
Oh boy, is there money in independent cinema? It's Ilya, you picked probably my favorite moment of the year so far. That was my favorite thing that's happened all year, was that close up of Reed. So yeah, I made a movie. Have been teaching, continuing to teach our class at Freeman Studios here in the city, and planning the year ahead. A lot of strategy goes into this
What kind of stuff do you teach at the Freeman Studios? Do you teach the flying necktie acting?
Oh, we teach a lot of different necktie and bow tie tricks. We teach the spinning bow tie. We teach the flying necktie. We teach how to have a necktie fly off of you across a room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of different gags from the 20s. The 20s gags never grow stale.
Do you teach people? Okay, there we go. We might lose our guest before we even bring him on.
Impossible. You can't be a part of film history the way that, and I mean this in all seriousness. You can't be a part of film history like this and walk off the show before you talk about it.
That's true. Well,
I mean, if Reed wants to walk off, I hope he does it to our faces and angrily.
Yeah, that would be great. But I do want to say a couple of things before we bring him on. Reed is a brilliant actor, a very dear friend of mine who, interestingly enough, we met. There were years where people were saying to me, well, Reed said blah, blah. And I'd say, Reed, who? And for some reason, people thought that we knew each other and that we were old and dear friends when we had never met. And I should bring him on and tell this story to his face. Maybe he'll have something to say. Maybe he'll contradict.
Maybe he will disagree with you.
Yeah,
which is what I'm secretly hoping for.
He'll say, we're not dear friends. What are you talking about? So I'm going to bring on my dear friend, regardless of what he may think of me, and the star of Crimewave, Reed Birney.
Hi, I'm Vic.
I think he's already left the studio.
He's left. He's completely sick of us.
He's back now.
And he really left.
There he is. There he is. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hi. So for years, people were saying, yeah, Reed. I was talking to Reed, and I'd say, Reed.
It's funny, not one person ever said to me, Matthew says.
Yeah.
Not one.
Clarifications. This is what we wanted.
For some reason, people thought we were dear friends, and then finally, we were at, and maybe this was auspicious. We were both at the memorial service of an actor who had died during the run of a show that I was in with her.
Margot Skinner.
Yes, wonderful actress.
Great lady.
Wonderful lady, and sadly, she passed away during the run of a play that I was doing there.
Yeah, I loved Margot. Yeah, I knew Margot well too.
And
I went to the thing because I'd done a play with her in Cincinnati a couple of years before.
And somebody pointed out that was Reed Birney across the room. And so I walked up to Reed and I said, hey, apparently people think that we're old and dear friends and we've never met. You want to get a cup of coffee after the memorial?
We went to the coffee shop and sat for a couple of hours.
Yeah, we sat and
madness.
It took us hours to discover that we had nothing in common.
It's true. That is true. That actually.
Can you give a rough year to this meeting? What
year was Moonlight and Marigolds or whatever it was called?
Moonlight and Magnolias. It was 2006.
2006. So it's
It's been 17 years that you've been playing up with.
If I have my math correct, you had just come off a couple of episodes of Law & Order: Criminal Intent, Reed.
Had I? That was pretty much all I was doing. My career was really pretty tragic. After Crimewave until 2008. Those were 35 really lean years.
When did you start just killing it on stage, though? I mean, because that was happening in tandem, right?
Always had.
I wonder if he's read this book.
It wasn't really blasted in 2008. Soho Rep was the thing that sort of changed everything and put me on the map. And yeah, 2 years after we met.
Right.
After Matt and I met.
So you were both still forming your actor personalities, your careers.
Well, it was late in the game. I was already in my 50s, but hope was still alive at that point. So
You're making me feel really much better about myself right now.
Hope
Please
was
keep going.
alive for him, and I was already well past
you had already given up.
the apogee of my career in
It's all a big
1999,
mistake.
Yeah.
starting the long, slow decline from 1999's Dinner with Friends to where I am now, understudying at South Coast Repertory. So, you know.
And naturally, I can explain everything.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The movie actually looks a lot funner in like 3-second clips.
Yeah, the 3-second clips are awesome.
It couldn't possibly have been worse.
You met me, didn't you?
Oh, God.
When was the last time you saw Crimewave?
It came out on Blu-ray a couple of years ago, and I got a copy and watched it. I think.
Okay. Does Bruce Campbell do a commentary on that new release? Is that?
I think there's a British release that just uses everything from the what's the company that does all the cool movies that releases them?
Yeah, like Arrow Video or there's a couple of them.
Yeah. I think they took everything, but the British people contacted me because I had given them. I had a Betamax camera I'd gotten for Christmas when we were filming it. And I took a lot of backstage stuff.
Oh, my God.
And so I sent that to the Blu-ray people of us just, hanging out on the set.
Oh, my God. That's a treasure trove, I bet.
That's on the US Blu-ray. And then the British people contacted me and said, is there anything else? And I said, well, I've got about 400 production stills. So I digitized those and sent them along.
And those are all on the new Blu-ray release because I do have to get that. I would love to see the behind-the-scenes stuff that you took.
Yeah, it's not that long, but there's some cool footage of filming the car chase, me hanging onto the car.
Any good shots of Sam Raimi looking absolutely miserable?
All
which
of them.
Okay.
When this movie was made, you were quite a big film star at the time.
No. I had done one movie. I had done Four Friends with Arthur Penn that Steve Tessich wrote, which came out in 1981. And then about a year later, we filmed this in 1982, in the fall of 1982. And so I had any kind of little cachet I had from Four Friends is what propelled me into Crimewave.
Because in the Wikipedia article, they make a big deal out of Bruce not being able to play this role because he wasn't a big star.
Well, I think it was more about, I wasn't a big star either, but I think it was more about the studio wanting to sort of exert power over Sam and Rob and Bruce because they can and they wanted to.
Okay.
Shall I tell you how I got the part?
Yes,
please.
Because we saw the film and we were wondering.
Yeah. All right. I had been. It was October of 1982, and I was out one night. I came back with my girlfriend, and there was a message on the machine. It was really late from Barbara Clayman. Remember Barbara Clayman?
Yeah.
Reed called me, and I had just gotten cast in a play with Max Mayer going to be directing that I'd really campaigned hard for, to be a photojournalist in Vietnam. Something they shouldn't have cast me in, but they did because I looked 12. But I had grown a beard. And Barbara said, I'm casting this movie in Detroit, and the guy that they cast has been in an accident. And they need somebody really fast. Could you fly to Detroit tomorrow morning? And I said, well, I'm supposed to help with the casting the leading lady of this play I've just been in. What's the movie? And she says it's called The XYZ Murder. And I said, oh, Barbara, that sounds terrible. Well, it's the second feature by Sam Raimi, who's just done something called The Evil Dead. And I said, Barbara, this sounds awful. And she said, it's the lead in a movie, Reed. I said, it said, what time's the flight? I'll be there. I flew out to Detroit and had to call Max Mayer from Detroit to say that I wasn't going to be able to help today because I'm in Detroit helping getting cast in a movie. I read once for Sam, and he said on the spot, I'd love you to do it. I had a full beard, and so I actually just found my audition. It was on 3/4-inch cassette, and I had it transferred. I finally saw it for the first time since 1982. I should have sent that to you. We could have run it.
Oh my God.
Anyhow, so I literally flew back that night, packed a bag, and flew back out and started filming.
Had you seen Evil Dead at this
No,
point?
I had not. I think he showed it for us when we were on the set. He had like a cassette copy of it, and we watched it in the office.
Because it was a new phenomenon at that point. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know it existed.
And Blood Simple, I think, had already come out, maybe. And the Coen brothers and Sam knew each other from NYU.
Right.
And they did this, had written this movie, and I think somehow or other they'd gotten Ed Pressman, who's still alive, I think, our producer, to finance it. Because they were all kind of hot. But it was Embassy Pictures, which was nothing. And
right.
We made the movie. I had the most fun. Honestly, it was so much fun, even with Crazy Brian and Scary Paul, and Louise Glasser was very nice to me, but she was nervous and temperamental.
I heard that you said Crazy Brian. I heard that he trashed his hotel room because he was trying to exorcise a ghost from the lighting fixtures.
There was some kind of demon was behind the wallpaper too.
The ghost of his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend was haunting.
I would have trashed my room too. That's terrible. I hate when that happens.
I seem to remember hearing about it, and Brian was clearly high a lot of the time. But I didn't have that much to do with him. He was nice to me. Paul, who I think is completely revoiced in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is almost in everything he's done, I think. Popeye as well.
I mean, and his voice is not a bad voice, but I think he's got sort of an Israeli accent, maybe. He had already done Midnight Express, where he was an incredibly scary guy in that. This was before Popeye, where he was Bluto.
Right. He had already done The In-Laws.
Had he? With your dad?
In the late 70s, yeah.
Were they friendly?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it was unfriendly, but it wasn't. He has no stories about Paul. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I did sell my car to Paul at the end of the shoot, and I was so naive I didn't know I needed to take my license plates off. So he racked up hundreds of dollars of tickets driving the car.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah.
So,
such a long clip.
You said Scary Paul.
Scary Paul. He just was so enormous and so terrifying to look at. And he was also had a huge ego. Huge ego.
Tell him it's a 2-for-1 sale.
A line I still quote. He was okay with me in the fight scene. He was not mean, and he didn't hurt me when he had.
Well, that's good. I mean, look, if you haven't seen the movie, what Reed's talking about is really notable because clearly you had to spend more time with Paul and Crazy Brian than almost anybody because of all the action stuff on that car. You must have been in a studio for a week just like doing choreography with them.
A couple of days. It was a couple
Oh
of
no, that's a lot of shooting for a couple days.
Yeah! Here's one for my boot! Yeah! Here's one for the dog! Yeah! Here's one for the rat! Yeah!
That guy was the stunt guy. That wasn't Brian. I think we did all the stuff, sort of the green screen stuff, and then we had a night or two out on the actual bridge.
Okay. Which was frozen. I hear everything
solid. And then there was another ending to the movie that nobody's ever seen, where when I fall off the bridge, the whole bookend thing of me in jail was added a year later.
Okay, I thought maybe
that was never part of the movie. And I fall off into the bridge, and then the dawn is coming, and Nancy comes and gets me in the river and pulls me out, and then it cuts to the wedding. And I had to be in the incredibly frozen river.
Oh no!
We had to break up the ice with dynamite.
That's
As
not
one
apocryphal. That's a real thing.
As one does.
They had to. You got to do what you got to do.
Guardrail! Fatso!
What I know about Raimi and his early productions made me very scared while I was watching this. I'm glad to hear you had a good time, because I thought that from some of the things I heard, it could be the worst experience that anybody's ever had.
There's a really good YouTube video essay that somebody put together a year or so ago called The Disaster That Almost Was, or something. And he does a very deep dive into the production. Things like when Mr. The boss man's glasses break, they shot BBs into his glasses. So, it's just, you got to get the shot.
But they
No
shot
hard feelings on this end. Mistakes do happen.
Oh my God.
They shot them from behind, correct? Into the glass to make it explode outwards.
I don't know. I just know that there were BBs involved.
Okay, because that's what they did for the shot in The Godfather when Mo Green gets shot in the eye.
Yeah,
they had a tube running along the earpiece of the glasses to behind the glass.
I see.
And they ran the blood through the tube with a BB in front of it, so the BB shattered the glass, and then the blood came through it.
That's way too high tech for where we were. Honestly. Wait, wow. Tony, you're muted there, Tony.
Yeah, it doesn't sound to me like they were that sophisticated on Crimewave. I think they just shot him in the face.
They're just like, how are we going to get these glasses to break? I know, shoot BBs at
why not?
I'm nerding out a little bit because I'm an Evil Dead fanatic, and I met Sam on a film. Our dad worked with Sam in a movie called Indian Summer, and Sam was in that movie. He had a bit part in that film, and he had just finished.
Well?
What's that?
Did he direct it as well?
No, he was just friends with the director and hanging out, and I got to meet him, and he's a very sweet, mild-mannered, gentle guy.
Yeah.
And then the videotape of Evil Dead was running around the crew, and so I got it one night, and I popped it in and saw it, and I could not put this guy with that movie.
No.
When you saw Evil Dead on set, when you got there and they screened it, did you feel like you were in good hands, or were you more worried after seeing it?
Well, I wasn't worried ever. They were such a tight bomb. Rob Tappert and Bruce and Sam had all worked on Evil Dead, and a couple of other guys had been on it who were helping out. So it had a real sort of fun high school guerrilla feeling to it. You know what I mean? We're making a movie. Now, I know that it was ultimately torture for Sam, which he never, ever shared with me. But there was a whole action sequence. The fight on the bridge was the second version. In the original script, it was a whole fight in the subways under the sewer system, which he then recycled in Spider-Man 2. That big fight is
Oh, right.
exactly the fight that we were meant to do in Crimewave. And I remember the day that he came. We were way behind schedule, and he came to the dressing room and he said, "We have to cut the fight in the sewers, and we've come up with this thing on the bridge instead." So he was. It's one of the reasons that the Coen brothers and Sam have disowned the movie, is that it was the studio tortured him making it, and then he spent a year cutting it, and then they took it away from him and did another cut. So his famous quote is, "I wouldn't use Crimewave for porno filler."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's pretty sad. Did you ever see his cut?
No. And then Embassy went out of business. They went bankrupt. I guess just before they released it, they went bankrupt. But they didn't exist after that. And Sam had at one point, late at night, we were filming something on the streets downtown, 2:00 in the morning, sitting around waiting for the setup, and Sam turned to me and said, "There's a part for you, Reed, in every movie I make."
Wow.
It's funny. I don't remember you in Spider-Man.
I don't remember anything. He cast me 100 years later. I auditioned to play the mayor in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay.
And I went in and I said to the casting lady, who didn't know anything about Crimewave, I said, "Look, I made a movie with Sam. Could I just say hi to him before?" Yes. And she said, "Okay." So I said, "Hi, Sam. This is me as a middle-aged man. Here we are." And he cast me as the mayor in Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
That's romance.
For a scene, shocking every time, for a scene at City Hall. And then literally I had a fitting and the night before, there was an incredible wind advisory. And so they were very scared about filming and rejiggered the scene, and the mayor was cut.
One mother loving hell of a storm brewing.
Well, at least he tried. You know, I mean,
he tried, and I've never heard from him since.
Yeah.
Do you know who that guy is in that clip with me?
Who is?
No, I can tell.
No, how?
Steel plate in my head.
Who is that guy?
His name is Emil Sitka, and he was in very, very many Three Stooges movies.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
And so
Yeah.
they obviously adore the Three Stooges.
Mhm.
And I got Emil Sitka to come out and film this one scene. I mean, it was thrilling to be.
That's
in the elevator.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Were I have to assume that because of the style of what you were able to do here, you were already a fan of the kinds of stuff they were satirizing and riffing on in this movie.
I had a fairly misspent youth, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I knew it didn't take much explaining for me to get the thing. Now I did spend a lot of time, because I was a serious stage actor, talking to Sam about sort of grounding it in some kind of reality. And,
well, that's very, as you watch the film, all of that work is very apparent.
Medium? Oh, well done.
I mean,
before
I will be showing this to my students when they ask me about how do you do very stylized comedic work and still keep it grounded in reality. I will be using clips from this movie.
That's the funniest thing in the movie.
I disagree, because you have the two funniest things in this movie for me, like by a mile.
I can't
And No, you're holy moly with the tie.
Yeah.
I'm not. The timing of all of those moments all of that is.
Holy moly!
It's just great.
That was the first day of filming, and Sam, literally, there was fishing wire to my tie, my clip-on tie, and he was.
Yeah. And you were thinking, I have arrived. This is exactly what I want to be doing.
Yeah, this is it. I am there.
Holy moly.
There's a story about, I was not the first person cast, obviously, because Barbara called in a panic. Bruce had never been cast. They were never going to use Bruce. The studio was never going to allow them to use Bruce. So they cast another actor who is a friend of mine now.
Not me.
Not you. And he had gone through some kind of audition process with Sam in LA and gotten cast. And then he took a bottle of champagne over to the casting lady's house to celebrate. And he showed up in the middle of a fight with her boyfriend. And he tried to intervene, and the boyfriend punched him in the face and broke his cheekbone.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
So he was out. Something like that.
This is like how he gets the job in Rosemary's Baby. This is good and bad news.
Wow.
I stole his tie. Yeah. So, yeah, horrible. And he had, months and months of reconstruction and lawsuits and all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, I went off to Detroit to make the movie. Bruce Campbell, they beefed up his part as Ronaldo so that he would have something to do. I think he's fantastic in the movie.
He's great.
And, but to this day, people still write, "Who's Reed Birney? Bruce Campbell should have played Vic Ajax."
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mean fans. It started here. This is where it started.
In 1985, it started, I've done a little bit more, so maybe I'm not quite as an unknown entity as I was for the first 40 years. But really, it's unrelenting, the rage at my getting.
Well, I'm gonna say that I think that this is the right casting, though. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan, and as you know, I'm a fan of yours as well. But I feel like he couldn't access the legitimate innocence, I think, that you were able to project.
I don't think so.
And that lives and dies by that, by his innocence to this. And so I thought it was great, and that he was perfect for Ronaldo. So
now there's a generation of people who grew up, saw it on HBO in 1988 and grew up not knowing Bruce Campbell and any of this stuff, and they are far more accepting of me as Vic.
I would think so.
And
That's the Reed Birney fan club.
They're both right here.
Yes.
They're all right there on the couch.
Right here.
Next to the lunchbox collection.
How amazing is that? And the hallway of doors.
Look, that there are moments of genius here.
Genius.
Arthur! Look out!
That hallway of doors
the parade of protection.
Parade of protection was very dangerous.
It looks like somebody could have gotten really badly hurt.
And I think Louise did a lot of it. I don't think it was a stunt person.
You can see her coming through those doors. It's her for a lot of it.
And she's fallen behind at one point.
Oh.
It really looks like she's about to get clobbered.
Did you get hurt doing this movie?
I don't think I did.
Surprising.
Anyone calling?
Now Paul, somewhere in there, it's a stunt person with a Paul Smith mask on.
I think I caught that. Yeah.
Wow.
But everything collapses on that dude at the. You can see like 4 flats hit this guy when he goes down.
Yeah.
No CGI, kids.
Pretty crazy stuff.
No CGI.
Yeah, that was the real thing.
Really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, were you aware of the havoc that you were causing in the nursing home that you were shooting in front of for a week? Do you know what happened there? In the flying bottle with the note in it?
That was you mean the opening of the storm stuff?
Yeah,
I wasn't around for that. I think that I wasn't around for that.
One of the residents of the nursing home finally threw a bottle out a window with a note inside it that said, "The noise is keeping me awake all night long and I am getting sick. I am dying because of you."
Yeah.
So that's why we tell our students, be kind to the neighbors. Remember, you represent Chapman.
You just got to get the shot.
You got to get the shot.
We shot the ballroom sequence at the Tuller Hotel, which has been torn down, but it was an old grand hotel downtown that had been abandoned, basically, and was completely falling apart inside, derelict. And they had gone in and cleaned up this room for the shot, but I don't think there was any electricity in the building. It was freezing cold. That trombone player,
it's incredible,
is the composer of the music.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody's in here. They did a lot of shemping, apparently, where,
A lot of shemping. And then they came up with the term fake shemp. Do you know that term?
No, there's fake shemp as well?
Fake shemp is when Shemp died making whatever movie he was making with the kids. Right. They had a fake Shemp come in. So they would refer to, like, the Paul Smith guy with the mask on would be a fake Shemp.
Oh, okay.
Going through the hallway.
But a crew member just like playing a background character, that's just shemping.
Shemping.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, how did they get Julie Harris in this movie?
He needed a job.
No,
everybody needs a job.
Seriously, how did they get?
You mean Louise Lasser?
No, Julie Harris is listed in the credits as uncredited in this movie.
Voices, probably. Perhaps.
Are you
she did a lot.
Barbara Harris? Barbara Harris?
No.
There's a Barbara Harris who does loop group.
Yes. No, I'm looking at the IMDb.
I think it's dedicated. It's dedicated to Julie Harris, I think, is what you're saying.
It
right?
is?
The film? No, I'm kidding.
That man is innocent!
Nancy!
Do we see Fran McDormand in the Nun group?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. Oh, man. There's so many Easter eggs in it. For real. Did you... Okay, I have a question. Was there any... you said it didn't take a lot of explanation for you, which I can understand if you've seen a lot of movies and a lot of cartoons and stuff.
Right.
But did Raimi ever give a statement about what it is, what stylistically everybody was supposed to be reaching for, or was everybody kind of on their own just trying to figure it out?
There was a lot of referencing Three Stooges, but I don't think he ever sat us down and said, "This is my vision for the film."
Because I see the Three Stooges, which I see in all this stuff, but I like more in this movie. I was seeing Matthews had it. Crimewave to me is like a Max Fleischer cartoon come to life, or You know, like it almost has more of that surreal Fleischer quality to it.
Yeah.
than Stooges.
Well, the way I've described it for 40 something years is it's a Three Stooges movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
that's you know, that's perfect.
Yeah, like that shot of Mr. I forget his name falling out of the window is very Vertigo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, very.
There are pervert.
What kind of paranoid schizo could kill a man in cold blood and then jelly up his face with shaving cream?
That guy's been in a ton of.
That's Richard Bright. He's in The Godfather.
Right.
And he was a nice enough guy. I'm sure he was standing around thinking, "How has my career come to this?" But he was a nice guy. He was pleasant. You know, didn't really take much in.
Right.
So many of them are gone now.
Listen, I just have to get a chance to thank him before we go. It's like, I really love you, the core. It's a terrific place you got here. Oh, God, gee, your hair really smells terrific. You know, I don't get a chance to talk to people like that, you know, especially girls like you, you know. When I was in school, my mom used to let me never really talk to anybody, you know, and I hated my mom. That's why I got into the rodent business, you know. Every time I kill one of those guys, you know, I see my mom in her face, you know.
Man, that's the bad wolf from the Max Fleischer cartoons.
You're right. That was all improv. He came up with that on the set that day.
Boy, is he a game actor? I've seen him just do anything.
Well, I think that's part of his, you know, was part of his greatness and his downfall is that he was completely fearless.
Yeah.
He got sober, I think, at the end of his life and was a completely different person. I saw him on an interview and he was unrecognizable.
Wow.
To me. Yeah. But he was leading a very fast and hard life in Detroit.
That's the he's a Detroit guy.
No, when we were
when you were shooting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so much that is unique about this movie and the first thing I think of is like we don't see like for low budget scrappy guerrilla style movies.
Yeah.
You don't see anybody shut down 3 city blocks and light them anymore on film. And there's something about like the scope of what they were you all actually did here in this just broken down city where you just seemed like you just had this whole city as a toy box in this weird way. It was just sections of it, but
there was nothing happening in downtown Detroit at that point. So it wasn't a big deal to shut down 3 blocks. It was really a war zone down there. And I think that the police department and the government was thrilled to have anything going on there. We did shut down the Belle Isle Bridge for the fight scene, and that was a big deal.
I can imagine. I mean, I really couldn't believe the scope of it. I'd never seen Crimewave before, which is surprising. I'm a big fan of the people that made this movie, and I've seen. Other than this, I was pretty much a completist on a lot of stuff. But this was actually hard to find for a while. I think when I was
very hard to find for a while, and now I think it's on Amazon. Is that where you guys watched it?
I saw it on Tubi, but it's on a bunch of places, and it's available on Blu-ray. And
yeah. I mean, it amazes me truly that it has become a cult movie.
Well, I think it could lead to a whole Reed Birney resurgence.
No.
Would you like to have some lunch some evening?
I'm sorry, no.
Or a cup of coffee?
No, really,
I'll pay.
That was sort of like when we first met, actually.
Very similar. My foot did not fit in that bucket, and it was complete. Complete agony.
Do you have a favorite moment of yours, a gag, or one thing that's just that you feel like really just makes you happy when you see it?
Well, you know, when you see a movie, mostly all it does is really remind you of the time you.
Yeah, it's like a whole movie for you.
Ever.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what I think about when I see it, about the context that we filmed in. I like the tie thing. I think that's pretty funny. And a friend sent me a GIF of it the other day.
Oh, perfect. Perfect GIF, yeah.
Perfect GIF. I loved doing the fight. Actually, I'm sort of proud of myself in the fight. You know, that's the one and only time I'm sure I'll have an action sequence.
Taste, justice, and you know, you've gotten to work with some great writers and you've gotten to say some great things, but taste, justice, and here's one for all the folks everywhere. I don't know that, you know, how often as actors do we get the opportunity to really have gold like that drip from our mouth.
It was my idea to recite "Cherish" to her at the dinner.
Oh, that's great.
That was brilliant.
And that was a big conversation because they had to get the rights.
Right. Oh, I was thinking like you didn't just wing it; they had to figure it out.
No, it was. I went to him at one point because there was. What is in the movie now is sort of half what they wrote and half Cherish, and it took a lot of convincing on my part to get him to do it. And I didn't think it would end up in the movie because I'm not sure they were ever really in love with it. But
my personal favorite Reed Birney moment is that $36 interchange you have with her. I think that I had to stop. I was laughing so hard when she says, would you give me $36? And you say, sure, if I had $36 on me. I don't usually walk around with that much money on me. Kill me, man.
Here's a fun fact. If you go back and look at the actual bill that's placed on the table, you can see that they had originally written something like 96 on it. And they realized as they went to shoot it that was wrong. So they got some whiteout. Got rid of the 9, but it's still bleeding through. It's so bad.
Oh, God. There are moments where you don't know what's happening. I found there are a few moments where you're just unclear as to what exactly is it.
You can't follow the plot.
Yeah, like you've lost what happens in even one shot. Like you're just confused. There's a shot of Paul where he comes towards the camera and he's doing something, and it lingers on him for a bit, and it doesn't look like anybody shooting it or in front of the camera really was sure what was supposed to be happening.
It may have been one of those MacGuffin things where they just needed to get him from point A to point B for the next
probably
so they just had to have some kind of a I remember that thing, that
brilliant
rug pull. Amazing.
It's brilliant. I mean, there's like Buster Keaton level ideas in this movie.
I remember hearing, just sidebar, in the movie of Sleuth, there was a continuity error of a red raincoat in the closet. And they realized it while they were filming and they couldn't go back. So there's a shot, I think, of Michael Caine literally bringing a red coat and hanging it up in the closet for no reason except it needs to be there.
Which is way more confusing than just having a red coat, like an accident.
Right. Wow. There may have been several things like that in Crimewave where we just had to.
So many great gags.
Well, maybe I'm a guy who...
I gotta watch this movie.
It's so much damn fun. I also thought Tom and Jerry cartoons. Sam Raimi must have weaned himself on that stuff.
The violence of it. Yeah, probably more that than even Looney Tunes.
I don't remember who Antonio Fargas is in this movie. I couldn't spot him.
I think he ended up having very little to do. There's the one shot I remember of him is he's an old blind guy and there's a shot of a silhouette of him walking his dog.
I remember that, but that's him. All right.
And how he fits into the story, I don't know. I can't remember.
Mrs. Trent. You better get back to your apartment. There are a couple of maniacs loose in the building.
Wow. And they're making a movie.
Yeah, making a movie. Louise Lasser, that was a thrill. It was very much after Mary Hartman, and very much after Woody Allen. And she was always very nice to me. But I guess she made their lives crazy. There's a famous story that she was going to do her own makeup. She didn't want anybody touching her. Do her own makeup. And so the first day she came out of her set in full clown white.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also amazing.
Good Lord.
I mean, there wouldn't be Home Alone if it weren't for this movie.
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. I think this is actually funnier than Home Alone.
Oh, I do too. I'm not necessarily a big fan of that franchise, but
Yeah.
you know, this is some innovative stuff. I mean, you can see where they were going with Darkman, and then with, you know, Raising Arizona. Like, that kind of kinetic comedy was.
I will sort of pat myself on the back, because I had many conversations with Sam about, you know, you can't just make comic book movies. You really just can't do it. You're too talented for that. And he was, at that point, I don't think interested in anything except comic book movies. And he's made a couple of really serious movies.
He has. I think a Simple Plan is an unheralded classic, actually.
I think that was the first one, wasn't it?
It was, the first purely serious kind of drama thriller he did.
Right, right.
And then he did that paranormal one with Cate Blanchett, where she plays the psychic in that small southern town. Great stuff.
I did not see that.
Sweetest guy, so nice,
very sweet. And it's one of the great sadnesses of my life, actually, and my career, that the movie is such a painful thing for him. And I have people that know him, friends of mine that know him, and I just keep waiting for somebody to say, you and Sam should see each other and have dinner and talk about it all. I would.
Can you good sisters corroborate this young lady's story?
They can't speak. They've taken their vow of eternal silence.
That is a shame that hasn't happened. I hope it does happen.
I hope so. I hope so too. Fran Kranz, who did Mass, is friends with Sam, and he sort of dropped that not too long ago, that he was friends with Sam. And I said, "Did Sam see Mass?" He says, "I don't know. We've never talked about it." And I thought, well, how close are you if you made a big movie and he's never? Anyhow,
yeah.
Well, he watches the show, so I'm sure he'll be glad after this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get a phone call later today. Bruce does a audio commentary on the Blu-ray, and I listened to it. And at one point, I'm doing something on the screen, and he sort of goes, "Yeah, I don't know why Reed didn't have a film career."
Oh no! Oh, wow.
Right back at you, buddy. I mean, you could kind of say the same thing about him. So,
he's had a cult career.
And he's gone on to very, very important stuff. So let's,
he does sort of admit at one point towards the end, he said Reed is having a very nice stage career.
Okay.
This was recorded, I think, in 2013. So I hadn't really had all the triumphs yet.
Well, Tony Awards and all of that.
That all came later.
It's not to be sneezed.
And now that I'm thinking about it, somebody actually said to me not long ago, Bruce Campbell says hi. So, there's some communication there.
Good. He probably wants some money too, I would think. But no, I love Bruce Campbell, and I was thinking in this one, I don't know why I hadn't thought of this before, but I think somebody owes Bruce Campbell some money, and that's That's Jim
me?
Carrey. Jim
Oh,
Carrey,
Jim
I think, owes his entire career to Bruce
Yeah,
Campbell.
Definitely.
Right, that's interesting. I've never thought about that before, but it's
I was watching today when I was reviewing stuff. I was like, wow, that is really like way
Yeah.
before Bruce before
Jim
he was
Carrey.
doing that. Jim Carrey was doing it.
not as annoying as Jim Carrey.
So
No.
we do a couple of set pieces on the show.
Okay.
As when we wind it down, which is to we talk about what we would watch as a double feature with the film. Do you have any ideas?
There's
What would you pair this movie with?
Well, what would you pair it with, Matt?
Mine was Something Wild.
Oh, the Jeff Daniels, Melanie Griffith thing.
John Demme movie. That's a great one.
Interesting. I haven't seen that since it came out. Very vague memories of that. It's a long time ago. How about you, Tony? What would you pair it with?
Well, I think that I really got to go with like a double bill with just like a 2-hour program of Tom and Jerry cartoons and Max Fleischer cartoons. Because I mean, you could watch those and then watch Crimewave and see them literally recreate these completely surreal Max Fleischer bits.
Right.
Even with like the sounds that the bad guys make, the dubbed voices sound just like the dubbed voices from those crazy old 20s cartoons. I would really just love to see that. And then maybe like you could also see a midnight showing of Skidoo right after this.
Have you done Skidoo yet?
We haven't. That's something we should really do, Matthew.
Oh, I just watched it for the first time.
Congratulations.
Wow.
You got to it. It's important. It's important viewing.
I remember when it came out, sort of like, that seems kind of crazy. I should watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy is right.
Kind of crazy. They were really all on something.
That is. Do you know about that movie, Matthew?
No.
Wow. It's kind of one of the most extreme cult classics around.
There's a very nice Blu-ray that's come out of it.
I would think so. Arrow releasing? Who does it?
Oh, I think it's Kino Lorber.
Kino, okay.
Did that, but Kino didn't. Wait, I'll tell you the company that released us originally.
What's the trouble, son? Some maniacs are after my girl, and I wonder if you'd let me take your...
Do you love her, son?
Yes, sir, I reckon I do.
That was the day Sam promised me a part in any movie he made.
Wow.
Your handling of I reckon I do is like I gotta have him in everything.
Well, they said, what is the Shout Factory? That's
Shout Factory. Yeah, they put out they do good work. They do great stuff.
They put us out.
I have to pick it up.
Probably 5 years ago.
Have you always embraced this movie, Reed?
I was really proud. I am really proud of the movie. I mean, look, it was a complete failure, and then it hurts my feelings that the Coen brothers and Sam have rejected it.
Right. I would imagine. Yeah.
You know, because we really. I mean, I understand why they did, because they really were tortured in a way that I was not. But I am proud of it, and looking back on it now, it was my first leading role, and I may say maybe the only movie I'm the center of. So, and I'm really cute.
You are really cute, Reed.
I didn't know how cute I was.
You were
I'm
cuter
adorable.
than possible.
It's terrible.
You had great flopping hair. Yeah.
Dimple and the whole thing. Oh man.
I
think they liked my Harold Lloydness.
Okay.
I think that's what they responded.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
Chapter 1, The Perfect Woman.
Was Preston Sturgis ever evoked on set?
Not that I can remember. It was my idea to have the book too, How to Talk to Girls.
That's right out of Preston Sturges' playbook. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing we do is we recast the movie.
With somebody from today.
Yeah, with people or from whatever we want.
So in other words, you're finally going to get Bruce Campbell in here in the lead. What are you talking about?
No, we do like recast from the past. Yeah. We recast with modern actors. I decided to do an ironic recasting.
Yeah.
So you would be replaced by Jesse Eisenberg. In the new version.
That is completely my response.
It would be Jesse Eisenberg. Bruce would be John Hamm.
Yeah.
Brian James would be Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
Paul Smith would be Joaquin Phoenix.
I think Paul Smith. May I disagree only in that I think it would be Dave Bautista who would be.
That's right.
Paul Smith.
Oh, okay, yeah, and Sheree Wilson would be Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
in everything.
Great. I really see that.
Totally ironic.
I lost touch with Sheree too, which makes me sad. We had a great time. She was so beautiful. She looked like Grace Kelly.
She's lovely.
She went on to do Texas Ranger, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, wow.
I think she was on that for many, many years. And I ran into her in LA at an audition. Oh God, probably in 1990, many years afterwards. But it was pre-internet, and I tried to find her. I think she lives in Texas now. I think she married a rich guy and lives in Texas and is has charities and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
still looks great. The most recent pictures I've seen. Had a son.
You're under citizen's arrest, fella! Oh, yeah!
That's a good line too.
Yes. Just the foot kicking through these simple gags that you haven't seen in 60 years play so well today. They do.
Do you think they could make a movie as rough around the edges and as sort of naive as Crimewave now? I don't know. Maybe.
I think so, but I think you'd probably. I see more stuff like that, like on YouTube. Like people are making stuff, but the studios aren't paying for it, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, I think so. I mean, and Raimi, admittedly, I think was hugely influential for a whole generation of filmmakers.
Yeah.
And you can say that Coen brothers obviously are too, but if you really look at Evil Dead, you see a lot of the moves that the Coen brothers got known for early on were kind of copied from him.
Yeah.
He really marked this whole time.
Never used me. I was friendlier with Ethan than Joel. Joel is a complete opaque creature. And I've gone in and auditioned for tiny parts in their movies. And the last one I went on was for Hail Caesar. And then I walked out of there and I called my agent. I said, "That's it. I'm not auditioning for them. These guys know me."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's embarrassing and humiliating for me to go in at this point and jump around in front of them, hoping
that is a shame that they feel they have to bear down on something. Obviously, you have taste and can do this. Like, what how hard is this scene that you've written? I mean, it's an honor. I'm just fun to be in them, I'm sure, and having done it, but it's not worth all that.
Fan of the Coen brothers to begin with, so it's not such a hardship.
Right.
To pass.
I don't know where I am with them now. I used to be a champion of theirs, and I used to be a champion of a lot of people. I'm not anymore.
And what's changed? Why do you think they've changed or you've changed?
Maybe a little bit of both, but I think that ultimately I end up feeling there's something kind of juvenile about the kind of nihilism that they're into.
Tell them it's a 2-for-1 sale.
It's every few movies I'll love one, but then lately there's been more that I'm just like I'm not feeling it.
You're better than I am because I just stopped going years ago. I did love No Country for Old Men, but
love that. I mean, Barton Fink was a movie that got me wanting to make movies. Partly that movie spoke to me. Miller's Crossing, early, they're early stuff, but you could say that about so many people. I don't
Well, they're always beautifully made, and but my feeling, even as far back as Blood Simple, is that their movies are movies about movies. That all of the emotions are movie emotions, and they're one generation away from the actual thing. And Sam, they're all based, because they're young filmmakers. Their influence is other films, not actual life experiences, is what it struck me as. And so,
well, there's no hope for me, Reed. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I'd like to see your stuff, Tony.
Sure you would. Yeah, I've heard that.
Well, on that note, maybe we should wrap it up then.
Okay, this has been really fun.
Reed, thank you so much. I had a blast seeing this, and
I'm so glad. I haven't really thought this much about Crimewave in a very, very long time. So, but do go look at the thing on YouTube, The Disaster That Almost Was, or something like that.
I will definitely check it out, and I'm going to pick up the Blu-ray too, because I want to learn more about what it was like on that set. But the music is pulling us out, getting louder and louder. I don't even know what to say.
Next week, suddenly from 1954, Frank Sinatra, Sterling Hayden. Can anybody hear us?
I don't know. Reed, have you ever seen Suddenly?
Yeah.
I did see Suddenly, yeah. That was his comeback after Manchurian Candidate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know the timing on it, but I know I've seen it, and it's...
No, he did Manchurian Candidate as a result of having played as an assassin in Suddenly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this looked earlier. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So next week, 1954, Suddenly, with Frank Sinatra and Sterling Hayden. And Reed, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with you about the craft.
Grounded. See you both soon.
Your incredibly grounded work. All right. See you all next week, everybody.
Right. So long.
I'm the Papa, sweetheart.
And the show doesn't stop. It just keeps
going.
Out.
Take us out, Elliot.
Elliot, make it stop.
I'm the Papa, sweetheart.
Talking about cocktails that are stylish, movies great or phony, and how Tony should win a Matthew, and Matthew should win a Tony. But in the meantime, talking about film in the meantime. The Arkin brothers talk about movies.